Hello. I don't know if it's a bit dark or not. Alright. There we go. The Blind Injustice campaign. An update and the ongoing campaign. I'll be talking about all these things. I'll also be talking about the Fame Maker, which is my body camera, my new body camera. I call it a Fame Maker because if you piss me off, I'll make you fucking famous. It really is as simple as that. I'll also be talking about the current cases, namely the individual who decided to report me for, harassment, and also the consequent case that came up, the other taxi driver that refused me. I'll also be talking about UKIP and Tommy Robinson, my involvement in, and also the, the Brexit March, the Brexit Betrayal March. Right now, I've tried to turn off, notifications, share to pay. No, if people could actually share this to my own Facebook, my own pages, I'd be extremely grateful if you could also tag other people into the conversation. Now, I appreciate that most people will actually be watching this on catch up, for the simple reason that the Blind Injustice page doesn't have an awful lot of viewers. I've got some 500 on my own, but there we go. Right, so yeah, the Blind Injustice campaign, it's got off to a roaring start. It's been going, some 8-9 days. We've managed to get, I think it's 280 quid so far, which is absolutely splendid, and I thank each and every one of you, firstly for donating, secondly for sharing and liking, and appreciating the need for this page. The page itself has obviously been set up to highlight and create awareness for the injustices that guide dog owners actually experience at the hands of a specific group of people, namely, and I'll say it, Muslim taxi drivers and Muslim restaurant owners, so-called Indian restaurants. They're not really Indian. I never have a problem with either Indian taxi drivers, nor nor indeed East European taxi drivers. Or indeed Indian restaurants. It's always Pakistani restaurants, Iraqi taxi drivers, Irani taxi drivers. So that little group of people. Now, I'll be accused of prejudice. I'm not. I don't personally give a chuff. I don't give a monkey's chuff whether someone's British, English, Pakistani, Hindu, or whatever. If they're breaking the law, if they're breaking the laws of our land, then they deserve to be prosecuted. It really is as simple as that. More specifically, and particularly with regards to guide dogs, access to taxis and access to restaurants is a particular problem for guide dog owners. It really is as simple as that. So there we go. So if you would please like this video, share this video, and tag this video, or tag other people into this video, I would greatly appreciate it. Right, and also I'd be appreciative, whatever the word is, for your comments. Right, so the aims of the blind injustice project, as we might call it, is, as I've said, to highlight and create awareness for the fact that certain factions within the taxi and restaurant industry actually discriminate, and crassly discriminate, against guide dog owners in total flagrance of English law, or English and Welsh law, I should say, or British law. And the consequence of that is that I will be highlighting the situation as it stands, or the ongoing situation. I've personally had, let me give you a quick rundown on who I am. For those who don't know, I'm Alan Elder Brown. I'm 61 actually. In my 62nd year, 14 of those I've spent in not abject, but near total darkness, consequent or following a couple of brain hemorrhages. The first one 14 years ago, which rather made my vision go squiffy, and the second one last June, whilst on a Free Tommy march outside Downing Street. I managed to hoik myself home and then reported sick, but there you go. Tommy's got an awful lot to answer for. But it's absolutely brilliant. I survived 2 brain hemorrhages. Absolutely. All right, the surgery wasn't a great deal of fun. The consequence is I spent 5 weeks away from my guide dog between June, July and beginning of August. I necessitated brain surgery, which absolutely brilliant. I have no quibbles whatsoever with the National Health Service or the treatment I've received from them. Absolutely brilliant. But there we go. So, no complaints about brain hemorrhages. I've woken up. An awful lot of people, about 50% of people I'm led to believe, don't even get to hospital. There you go. I'm blessed. But there we are. So 14 years on, 13 years of which I've had a guide dog. The first one, Fat Boy Finn, retired some 6 years ago, I suppose, when I got the new one, Bonnie, who you may or may not be aware of. Most probably are aware, seeing as there are photos up on my Blind Injustice page. I've had her 5.5 years. She's 7 years old now. And during the past 13 years I've had a guide dog, more or less on a monthly basis, I get either refused access to a restaurant, or more especially due to the fact that I get about 10 taxis a week. You can bet your bottom dollar that I'll get refused at least once. Now, for one reason or another, I'm reasonably high profile in Tunbridge Wells. Now there are 8 other guide dog owners in Tunbridge Wells. 7 in Tunbridge Wells and 1 in Paddock Wood, but that's 8 registered to Tunbridge Wells Borough Council. Now, if I, as a reasonably high profile oik, can receive this treatment, then so can the others. The other 7 guide dog owners. And that's just in Tunbridge Wells. I hear about these incidents on more or less a daily basis, where some poor sap has been deprived access to a taxi. It's normally taxis, but it does happen in restaurants, particularly, as I said, Pakistani restaurants. There we go. So the consequence is that this having gone on for 13 years, and consequent to my last brain hemorrhage, I've basically got I'm living on borrowed time, so I've got nothing to lose. So I'm going to try and expose the injustices that are going on, more particularly with guide dogs, or with guide dog owners. The purpose behind this campaign, or this GoFundMe thing, is to try and get me enough dosh or cash to put together a camera outfit. And I'm pleased to say, I mean, it's up to 280 quid. I've yet to get the money off GoFundMe. I'm starting to make withdrawals now for the simple reason that I've gone out and went to Jessop's, I think it was Friday, and actually bought myself bought there we go, whichever way up it goes, a Nikon, I don't know which way, right, it goes over my, what do you call it, and well, you can't see it because I've got the camera on a tripod, but it's a body camera, a reasonably discreet body camera, insofar as it will go under my coat with just the with just the lens popping out. Won't work so brilliant during the daytime, for the simple reason I'll be able to see it. But most of these problems happen during the evening. We're not saying most of these problems, the problems that we're having, with regard, or more specifically, the problems I'm having, happen after dark. Invariably, the taxis, they change shift at 6 or 7 o'clock when it gets dark, and it's then, but I'm going to be honest, I'm going to be upfront, when the immigrant population come out to take over the taxis. And consequently, I keep saying fucking word consequently. Anyway, right, let's move this a bit closer. Right, this is my first live indoors, so with apologies for the fact that one, it's dark all the time though. I've managed to get, and I've spent, I don't know, just shy of 200 quid so far on the harness, an SD card, a 32 gig SD card, and the actual camera, or the body cam, or the fame maker. Piss me off, and I'll make you fucking famous. So I've spent just shy of 200 notes on that, and I'm waiting to get the money from GoFundMe for the simple reason I'm now spent up. There you go. But the campaign will be ongoing, for the simple reason that I have every intention of not just doing this on a local basis, but coming to a town near you. Now, I'm aiming for, or to visit, the likes of Luton, where our Tommy lives, which I know has a very, very high Muslim taxi population. Rochdale, Sheffield, Leeds, Manchester, and anywhere else that has, that is ready for exposure. It really is as simple as that. I will expose them. Now, people might ask, why are you just picking on Muslim taxi drivers? The simple reason, it does not happen. It does not happen to British, or it doesn't happen with British taxi drivers, with even East European taxi drivers. I've got some very, very good taxi drivers who've gone and basically Christian taxi drivers. It doesn't happen with Filipino taxi drivers. It does happen more or less exclusively with Pakistani, in actual fact, the Afghanis, Afghanistanis, whatever you want to call them, they seem all right. Basically, now the chances are most of these urchins have very, very poor English. They all rely on sat-navs. It pisses me off even more because you then have to give them your postcode. Right, if you can please all like this. I know you're watching it on catch up for the simple reason that I'm now going to have to, when it finishes, I'm going to have to share this to my normal pages, my normal profile, etc, etc. So please like, if you haven't already, like the Blind Injustice Facebook page, and give us a call out, leave comments. Now, with regards to the equipment that I've already purchased, I will provide receipts on the Blind Injustice page for the simple reason I want this fund to be transparent. No chunkiness. All receipts will go on the page, and that includes any travel expenses that I incur through visiting. I don't know. I'm prepared to go all the way to Glasgow if so desired. But you need to actually report to me on the Blind Injustice page whether you've got a problem or whether you can foresee a problem with the taxi drivers or restaurants in your local area. Now, most people will know a blind git, like myself, so have a word with them and see if you can sort of gauge whether they're having problems at the moment. Right, so I bought the harness. I bought a harness and a thingy, and the camera itself, and a microchip thing, or whatever you call it, SD card, which was nearly as expensive. Well, no, it wasn't, but bloody expensive, them fucking things. Sorry about my language. Yeah, the only other thing I need is a couple of spare batteries, equipment-wise. I mean, the battery on this Nikon Key Mission 170 is what it is. Yeah, Nikon Key Mission 170 body camera. It's not the latest thing. I got it cheaper or on Black Friday. I think they called it, from Jessop's. Now I could have waited to get a GoPro 7 or GoPro 8, but it's not necessary. It really isn't necessary to go to them sort of levels. Albeit, the other thing that I will need, apart from the 2 spare batteries, is a microphone system, because the microphone sits just below the lens. I think I can't see what I'm doing, but it sits just below the lens. So if I've got my jacket on, sort of, it obscures the microphone. It doesn't obscure the lens, so I need an external microphone. So yeah, not expensive, 10-15 quid off Amazon. So I'll see about getting one of them. Yeah, so there we are. Anything else? Right, current cases. Right, now you'll all be aware, or most will be aware, of my getting biffed by a certain taxi driver. No names, no pack drill. I've no need to mention his name. In actual fact, I can't even pronounce his fucking name. It's as simple as that. But he had his taxi licence. He had his Hackney licence revoked, removed, expunged. Yeah, pretty toot sweet. Tunbridge Wells Borough Council immediately revoked it. Absolutely excellent. he is appealing, obviously, and he's got a brief. He's got a solicitor working on the case, because the solicitor has plainly said to him, right, you go and prefer a charge with the police against Elder Brown for harassment. So he did. So, which brings me on to the second case. But yeah, so he preferred a charge. He went to the cops and said he arrested me by putting the video up of me biffing him. So, what do you call it? So, 2 cops came around here, knocked on the door, for which I may or may not have put the video up. I don't know. Can't remember. But yeah, 2 cops came around here, so I immediately pulled out the phone and started videoing the buggers. So they came in and they said, well, we'd like to invite you to the police station for a non-custodial interview. So in other words, I wasn't under arrest, didn't get to spend any time in the cells, but I recorded the whole of the interview. Probably wasn't meant to. I had a brief there, and both the copper, and I've got it on record, got it on audio, both the copper and the solicitor both said that although the police would have to report me for harassment, but the chances are the CPS would just laugh it straight out of court. It really is as simple as that. They would just piss it out of court. So I don't think anything will come of that. But it was obviously a way of actually countering his appeal, which is on the 14th, Friday the 14th of December at Sevenoaks Magistrates Court. Nova, or whatever it's called. The case will be heard whereby he has to appeal the revocation of his licence. Now, as far as I'm concerned, he's got absolutely sod all chance of being successful. But by fuck, if he is, then I will literally go to the police armed with my video and actually prefer charges against him for assault, common assault, and also for refusing a guide dog. Now that's an immediate, well not immediate, but that's a statutory £1,000 fine. So if he is successful, then I will prefer charges against him. Really is as simple as that. So anyway, so I was coming back from the police station, Tunbridge Police Station, or Scumbridge as we call it in Royal Tunbridge Wells. So I was coming back from the cop shop, and I thought, I know what I'll do. I'll start videoing now. So I started videoing now on the train. I've actually put the video up as if to say that I'm not actually. I mean, right, here's a little bit of a brief. For every 100 live video, well, not live videos, but every recordings I do, and I record all telephone conversations, doctor's appointments, and believe it or not, I do see an awful lot of doctors and surgeons and specialists. So, and I record them all on audio. If I go into a restaurant or catch a taxi, which I do quite regularly, I either go on live feed or record it, video record it. Simple as that. So I was at Tunbridge Wells railway station and proceeded up to catch a taxi, and as is normally the case, the first couple of taxis immediately bugger off because they know, one, who I am, secondly, they won't take dogs. So they're quite happy to go to the very back of and Tunbridge Wells, outside Tunbridge Wells railway station, where 82% of drivers are actually immigrant. and I think 70% of the immigrant population are actually Muslim. It's a basic fact, and I've gleaned that from the Tunbridge Wells Borough Council's website. So yeah, so I approached the first available taxi driver. Oh, no dog, fucking no dog. So I sort of pointed the camera at him, and unfortunately his voice or the audio was a tad muffled, hence why I need a proper recording system, or not a recording system, but audio capability, or one with audio capabilities. So yeah, it was a tad muffled, but I asked him for his badge number, wouldn't give it to me, and the reason is because I suspected that he was actually a suspended taxi driver. What tends to... No, I won't go into this too much detail, but anyway, so I went to the council the following morning, or a couple of days later, armed with my video camera, armed with the video, reported him, and it's now in the hands of Tunbridge Wells Borough Council legal team.
Alarm. Please wait. Dialing for assistance.
Oh, God. Right, here we go. I've just banged my arm on the chair. I have a fall alarm, which is like a proper spastic thing. So if I fall over, I have to wait for this to... You'll leave this socket. Right, you're going to have to... Right, hang on. Yeah, no, everything's all right. I'm sorry, I just banged my arm on the chair. So, yeah, I'm perfectly fine, though. Thank you very much. You're very kind. Thank you. Cheers. Bye-bye. How dare. Right, so... So, yeah, proper cripple. So that wasn't done purposefully to demonstrate the fact that I am a bit of a spaz. It goes off normally when I topple over. But there we go. So the harassment. So we've covered the harassment charge, and we've covered the consequent, see, I've used the word consequent again, the consequent case, just done it again. Right, now, other things, right, rumours that have been circulating around me on Twitter and Facebook, not necessarily on my pages, or people wouldn't dare do it on my page. Oh, he ain't blind. You should fucking see. There's absolutely fuck all wrong with his eyesight. Well, there you go. I've never claimed to be totally blind. Although I do spend periods in total blindness. Generally speaking, I'm not totally blind. I have no sight in this eye. Or 0%. It's normally open, but it's gone to sleep. And between 4 and 8% vision in this eye. But I use that 4 to 8% 100%. So for all intent and purposes, I'm no great disadvantage. I say no great disadvantage. 4% vision in one eye and none in the other is a little bit iffy. It's but there we go. I've never claimed to be blind, totally blind, but consequently I am. But I'm actually registered blind, and not visually impaired. But I am. I don't like the word visually impaired because there's nothing, absolutely nothing wrong with my vision. I can see perfectly well. I can see perfectly well where this fucking country's going. Ain't a pretty sight. Anyway, so I'm actually classed as extremely visually impaired or sight impaired. Right, sight impaired. I prefer the word sight to vision. All my vision. What do you call it? So there we go. Where were we? Right, so we've covered the blindness issue. The fact is, they've entrusted me with a £60,000-70,000 guide dog for the second time. You really don't do that. So just to quash any rumours, there have been a couple of trolls, a couple of fucking numpties on Twitter who've actually commented on this. So there you go. But there's also people who've said I'm a wart. Now, a wart, to those who don't know, is a watermitty. One of the worst things you can actually level at a veteran as a squaddy. You wart. Oh dear. It's like calling someone the C word in City Street. But there you go. I didn't serve 22 years. I didn't serve in the SS. I didn't serve in the parachute regiment or anything dark like that. Neither have I ever claimed to. I did 12, 13 years in the regular army, in the Royal Army Ordnance Corps, which is a logistical arm, the Royal Army of the Army. There you go. So now I've got a couple of medals, but they were campaign medals, not bravery or for valiance or anything dark like that. And I didn't earn them, I was awarded them. It really is as simple as that. So there we go. So we've quashed the blindness issue, and we've quashed the ease of walk issue, which I'm plainly bloody not. So, UKIP, right. And despite rumours to the contrary, I haven't resigned from UKIP. I'm still UKIP. I'm still chairman of UKIP Tunbridge Wells. I'm still secretary of UKIP Tunbridge Wells. I'm still presser. In fact, pretty much everything with Tunbridge Wells. Now, Tunbridge Wells, as you may or may not know, is the only town in Kent that voted for Remain. We have Nobby Clark, or whatever he's called, Clark. Oh, I can't think of his bloody name now. Stephen, anyway, Clark, as our MP. Please comment and tell me the MP's name for Tunbridge Wells. Stephen Clark, or whatever his name is. He's a minister. He's quite senior within the government. And a complete wet. Totally agrees with the Chequers deal. Totally agrees with Theresa May. He's so far up her arse. He's probably coming out of her mouth. But yeah, there we go. Stephen Clark? No. Greg Clark. That's it. Greg Clark. Right. The Right Honourable Greg Clark. He's very much in favour of the Chequers deal. So, yeah, so Tunbridge Wells is pretty much a Remain town. We did have a couple of councillors, namely Piers Walcott, currently UKIP NEC, and currently my vice chairman, and Victor Webb, a most gallant chap, who was a councillor, and indeed Christopher Hoare, who was a county councillor. But those days have long gone, unfortunately, where we had representation on Tunbridge Wells Borough Council. Well, that's not to say, indeed, that there isn't a strong feeling within Tunbridge Wells against the Chequers deal, against Theresa May's capitulance to Europe. So there we go. So there will be around about 8 members, 8 UKIP members, going up to the Brexit bash, the Brexit betrayal bash, as I call it, on December the 9th. I bloody hope you're going to be there. Right, leave comments, please, as to where you're going to be coming from. I'd like to know the furthest place. I've heard of, what do you call it, coach loads coming down from Sunderland, from the northwest, from Manchester, Liverpool. People coming up from Exeter, Plymouth. Absolutely superb. We need to make it a day to be remembered. Now, I calculate perhaps 60,000 will be there. Or if Diane Abbott's counting, about 60 teen sort of thing. It's, yeah. So, right, anyway, I'm going to leave it. I'm going to leave it there. I don't know how long I've been doing this. But I personally believe that anything over 15 minutes is a complete waste of time. I've no idea how long I've been live. But right, so what I'd like you to do is report to me or leave comments on either my page or on the Blind Injustice page as to whether you believe that guide dog owners are getting a raw deal in your area. Now, by that, what I mean is whether you have a very, very large amount of Muslim taxi drivers in your area. Now, I do emphasise that the majority of Muslim taxi drivers will take guide dogs. They really will. But it's that small percentage, and it is exclusively, or pretty much exclusively, Muslim taxi drivers who actually refuse access to guide dogs. Anyway, I've waffled on enough. Please like, share, and please, if you feel you've got a bit of spare cash, chuck it or donate it to the GoFundMe account. And I might well be in an area near you anytime soon. With that, doodles.